To my online classroom, ladies and gentlemen. Those who don't know, my name is Arshad Taseen, and I teach at the Williams School of Business at Bishop's University. And I hear a lot of sound at this point in time here. I mean, I think, do we just continue here at this point, or do you want me to wait for something
No,
else to
folks are
come?
just logging in and they haven't muted their mics, so that's okay, but keep going.
Okay, all right. So again, welcome to my online classroom. So what I'm going to do here is first, I'm going to express some of the goals that I had for my course. And let me put this one here up front. And then what I'm going to do is I'll take you to my online Moodle itself. So the first goal that I had for this particular class was to provide the teaching resources in a way that if students were to learn on their own, a preferred methodology is accommodated. Now, there are a lot of different methodologies students use in order to learn. Some use visual, physical, oral, verbal, logical, social, and even solitary methods. Okay. Now, I've taught many courses, and in all my courses, I'm cognizant of the fact that there is a proverb: I hear, I tend to forget. I see, I remember. I do, I understand. And I have tried to keep the same kind of logic as much as possible in my teaching material that I provide. That was my first goal. My second goal was to create an environment for students to know me as well as each other. Now, often we teach computer screen with circles. We do not see the students, the reaction, or body language, nothing. Okay, so this is the nature of online teaching that we have now. So what I wanted to do was to give a method where students would open up their cameras and talk to me as well as each other. So we'll talk about that one, as how I was able to do it. My third goal was to ensure that student exchange takes place and they learn from each other as much as they learn from me. Okay. My fourth goal was to ensure that integrity in the tests and exams are maintained. Now, in most of the courses, we try to avoid opportunity. Well, not most. I mean, I think in almost all courses, we would like to avoid opportunity for academic dishonesty. We want to be fair equally for everyone and reward those who acquired more skills and knowledge. So I'll talk about that one as well as how I was able to do it. Now, basically, I've used Proctorio every week, and then based on that one, I'll give you some of the experience that I had. So these were my four goals that I had. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take you to my Moodle course. Okay. So now my Moodle course or itself that's there here, we use three different platforms: Moodle, Teams, and Proctorio. Okay, so those are the three things that I've used, and it's a business statistics course. It's a second business statistics course, as a matter of fact. Okay, so in order to take you to my Moodle course, let me take you to my Moodle page. Here is my Moodle page. Now, if you go to my Moodle page here, first, when you go on the top, what I'd like to do is I'd like to provide a bird view of my whole class. So what I have here is each week what we do is dates and then the subjects that I'm going to do it up here. So that I put it down. All the handouts for each week that I'm giving you, that I put that one, all the students. I also use Wiley's textbook. So in this textbook, I have referred to them to the chapters or subsections or whatever that they need to refer. So I put that one in here. Also the assignments on that one, if they have to do it, I put that one in here. Then during the week, I have three sections. And the first one here is the classwork or the quizzes that I give them or the discussion questions that I have, I put them in here. So these are where they have to input their answers. The questions and all of that one I give in my handouts, they have it in advance. And then later on, they have to input this. I will show you what I mean by inputs here. Okay. Then we have for independent work, there is a chapters again on Wiley textbook, which I link directly from my course. where they go and then learn it up if they want to. And also I provide video learning videos here. So I put it in, these are my own. And here what I've done is I've taken my notes and I build different type of apps for students learning. So I package videos, apps, as well as my notes into a book. And that's what I have put that one. And I put that as a SCORM package, as you'll see at the bottom. So this is the bird view that gives all the students in here. Once you come down here, there are some essential stuff that they need to have right at the beginning of the term. For example, statistical tables they need to have. I put that in, course outlines, and also the Wiley flyer for them to register on that one you have. And then each week, all they need to do is click in here so that they can get to my Teams page so that we all link it up. We used, I think, in the beginning, Blue Jeans, but after that we stopped, and then we have been using Teams, and then I think it's been fairly good. Then I also give them information on Proctorio right at the beginning of the semester that they have to work on. And then at the bottom here, for each week, what you see here goes down, and then each week I provide them the material. The first is their handout. You click that, and then they get their handout for that week. Here, I give them a link here directly. You click in here, it takes you to the Wiley page, and then all the material that I have, the assignments or any section for them to read, I put that one here, so directly they go into that one. Then I have what's called groups. Each week, what I do is the students, I put them in different groups. So all they need to do is click in here to see which group they're in. And what I do is, let me go to that one here. What I do is I have an Excel sheet I built in. I'll bring that in here. And here what I do is I put the student's name and the random number here. All I need to do is click in here, and then it just gives me a different list. Every time I click, it gives me a different list. So I just copy paste this one here into this list here. So for example, if you click it in here, you get the list and they know which group they're in. So automatically every week it happens. Now, in the Moodle itself, in the Teams, let me go to Teams here and I'll show you for a second. If you come to the Teams here, what I do is when they log in into the Teams, they come to the general here where I take a few minutes of class. If I have to make any announcement, I make those announcements. Or if there are general questions, I take them. But then all the students go into different groups based on the groups that I've made. And then I go into each group and discuss with them any discussion that we have to have or solving problems. If they have difficulty, I address that one-on-one or maybe 4 to 5 students at a time. So that's a group work that we do. Let me move it out. And then I have, this is the group work that they have to put it in. So I've built this one in Moodle. So let me click on to that one here. If you click it in here, this is what you get. And here, what I've done is this is the problem that they have. And then this problem, I have broken that into sections. So they'll have to input it in the values here if they want to. They can, the buttons, they can click that one here, what it is. And then here, if they have to choose any one of those, they can choose that one. Or if they are numerical values, they put it in the values. So they work in groups. So all of that one is done. So now let's say if there are 2 questions, here is one. And then if you go into the second one, it gives you the same kind of format. Oh, wait, was the first one? Yeah, the other one. So it's a similar format that they have. So students have to do it online, and then everybody sees it, and they do that together. Okay. So coming back to my page, and then I have video lessons I was talking about, and I'll go into details about this one in here in a minute. I'll talk about one more thing in here is appointments. So students have to just simply click in here and they can just put their name in the list. And what I do is during the office hours, I go one at a time on the Teams and then speak to them what the questions are. I do that one. Now, this is what I have done for every week as we go. Let me share what I had last semester and then what I have made the change. So if I go into, let's say I'll close that one down and let me get to my other one. Okay, so I put that side by side here. So this is my this semester's one, and last semester this is what I had. If you see it, you'll see there's nothing in. As a matter of fact, there was more information here than what I have it here. For example, I mean, I think all you need to do is click in here. You'll be able to get to the same table that you see information in here. The table is squished in here because of the different browsers that I'm using. This is Firefox, and this one is Chrome. Chrome tends to squish the tables. Why it does, I don't know. We'll have to find that one. And also, not only that, I had done, this was kind of a one window operation. So if they need it, all they have to do is simply click, and then they get to their handout. So get out of that one here. You come back to your course. So all the material was all, they just simply click and then they could get it. Here, there's nothing in. You don't have to do that one. You have to go directly into the week and then do it. The reason why I had to do that one here is, if you see, there's nothing in here. As a matter of fact, every week is filled. I mean, I think all you have to do is click in here and then take it. These are the new features that were there in Moodle. They were brought in, and I thought that was very cool to use it. But every week, I would get 1 or 2 emails from the students saying that, oh, where do I find this handout? Or where do I find this video lesson? Well, all you have to do is click and then see it. I got simply tired of that one. I said, no. Now it is just right there on your face. As soon as you open it, you will see it, and then you don't have to ask me. And, you know, surprise, surprise, I don't have a single email asking where is what. Here, I would get all the time. Okay, so that's one change that I had to make it, even though it looks good. I mean, I had to work hard on this one here to create the hot spots and then connecting that one to the other ones in here. I don't have to do it here that much, but that's how it worked. Okay, there's one change that I had to make. The other one that I had to make was in the Moodle, not in the Moodle, in the Teams. Now, what I had done in the past was I would in the past, I would use the breakout rooms. Instead of having the breakout rooms, what I did was I put in this type of groups in here so that they know which group they are in, and then I can go to each group and then help them out. Now, with last year's one, there was one more issue with that one. So that is, there were no marks attached to group work. So students simply didn't show up. And what hit me was almost at the end of the semester, a student comes in and tells me, how can you help me? I said, what happened? How can I help you? And he says, I would put on my course and I would listen to you, and I would be simply in the bed and I didn't do anything. So can you help me now? So I said, why didn't you go in and see it? Last semester I had a hybrid class. And I think hybrid class for my type of course is absolutely useless. Or I think we're not servicing either the students or myself. It becomes double the work, and still you're not satisfying anyone. If you have a hybrid class, either you are helping students who are in the class itself, or you are helping those people who are online. You can't satisfy both of them at the same time. If you want to have a class, have an in-person class, or if you want to have an online class, have an inline class. Having both in one is just simply a disaster. So I said, no, I'm not going to have a hybrid class. It will be online, and then you will listen to that one here at your own pace. Whenever you want to do it, you can do that. And I'll show you that, what I've done also further. And when I did for group work, I attached marks for that one. I said, just there's a participation marks, and then also for all the problems that you're doing it, you have the option of doing it earlier. But what I did was, for them to input the data, I opened it up only when there was a class. So even though they could work on it, but when they have to insert the answers, it is only during the class time, so they come in, and then they'll have to do that one at that, and they're forced to do it in an indirect way. But I give them a lot of time, so even after the class, they'll be able to do that one here. But at least there's an incentive for them to come to class, be there in the groups. Another change that I had to make was in the appointments. Now, if you see here, I had put it in here for the appointment here. If you do that, if you just simply click in, you get to this fancy page where you would select, let's say you want an appointment at 9:30, 9:45, 10. Every 15 minutes I had scheduled. The problem with this one here is that when the students come in, I take only 1 or 2 minutes to answer them questions. It's really rare that I take 15 minutes. So I'm sitting here for next 10 minutes doing nothing for the students. So I said, no, that's not working for me. So what I did was I used the other one here that is already built in on the Moodle. And this is, let me show you. It's the scheduler that's there that I use it. And you use that one. And here, students simply put their name in. And then what I do is I attend one student. Once this is done, then I go to the next student. I call them on Teams, and then we discuss. So that way I don't waste my time. And also, I tend to see more number of students at that time than scheduling it this way. So there was another change that I had to make. What else did I change? Yeah, so these are the changes that I had to make. Now, let me take you to my SCORM packages here. Let me bring that down, and then I'll make this one here large enough so that it works. Okay, so if I take you to my video lesson, say lesson 1, and if I click onto that one, it takes me to another page here. If you enter in, okay, so this is my SCORM package. Here, what I've done is this is a kind of box, so you have go into the next page, and it gives you learning objectives, and then here the notes start, so you put that in here within that, and then you go further down, you have apps, you go further down, you have videos within that, wherever it is, it's just linked directly there. So if you go into, let's say, for example, my apps, there are several different type of apps I've built. So let me show you here a few of them. The first one, if I go, here's one. So I'm trying to show you here the behavior of the distribution. There are 2 parameters, so you can play around with that one, see what happens when the mean changes or when the standard deviation changes, what happens. You can play that whether it is a Z distribution or whether it's a T distribution. Here the parameter is degrees of freedom. When you change, what happens with that one. Or if it is a chi-square distribution, when that changes, how it changes. You can just play around with that one and just show you the behavior. I mean, I think when I try to write that one here, I might have to write paragraph or paragraph. Here they can just play around and then they can learn it. So this is one type of I have. Then let me go to the another type here, another one. Let me bring that one here. So this is another app that I put that in. Here it's the confidence intervals that they have to find. So if they have to find the confidence interval, they can just change it in here. They can get that. And as a matter of fact, it'll calculate automatically from the tables. And it'll also give you the values here, whatever you have. You can click that one here and then it gives you the values and it keeps changing. So these values they have to get, they have to go through the table, get those values, put that in. So with this one here, directly they can do that one. Whether it is a Z distribution or whether it is a T distribution or a chi distribution, all the parameters are given here. So with that one here, they can change and then you get the values, different values. You don't have to look into the tables. I'll talk about the tables in a minute, what I was talking about. So this is another one. Another one I'll show you here, there are different type of apps I built. So here's another one for the students to learn. So now there are different type of formulas here that they have to use, and they have to learn which formula to use when. So I put in a table here, so these are the properties, so you can play the kind of a game here. So let's say if I take that one in here, and then I put that one here, and say, okay, this one here, put that one there, this one here, and then you submit that one, and then it'll tell you whether it is right or wrong. So it says, close, all of them are wrong. So you can resubmit that, reset that one, reset that one, and then let's say if you did a few correct ones, let's say if you did this one here, this one some correct or some wrong, if you do that one, and now it'll tell you, again, submit that, and it'll tell you, okay, these two were correct, these two were wrong, so you can reset it. So that way you can play around that one here and then think about it and then it'll do it. Then there's another type of I built. Here is another one. And here what I've done is, okay, similar one. So again, on the formulas, you've got to think about, so which formula to use when, and then when you come down, all of that one, and then you bring in your cursor here, it gives you the formula. Same thing here, if you come in here, it gives you a formula. So whenever you come down with any of these, and then at the end, you want to know which formula it is, it just gives it to you. So I'll show you one more, which was a little more comprehensive type. Here's another one I built. And if you go in here, if you press, let's say, enter here, so these are different stages of hypothesis testing that you have. And let's say if you go into the first one, and it gives you a table kind of one, so whether you're one group, two groups, more than one group, or ANOVA, whatever you're doing it. And then if you go in here, first one, and then it gives you the same type. So that's your first step. And then now you can close that down, then go to the next step. And in here, again, in hypothesis testing, what you're doing is one group, two groups, you can do that one here. And then it shows you, okay, one of the sets of the hypothesis testing you need to do. And then you do select this one or that one here, depending on the selection. You'll get different type of graphs that you have to do it. And then you can enter those values. So once you have done that selection, okay, close that one down. And then you go to the next step. And here you need to select a criteria for decision making. So once you come to this one here, now you have, let's say, Z distribution, and then if you're doing a right tail test, and then this is your alpha, you can change it to left tail to right tail, or two tails you can do it, or you can go to T distribution if you want to do it, or chi-square distribution, or F distribution. In any of these, all you need to change the parameters and it will automatically calculate the values, which are big tables, and it's a big deal in here, so you can get that one very quickly. Once you close this one here, then you can go to the next one here. This is a little more difficult one. So these are the tables what I was talking about. Each of these gives you automatically. So for example, if you want to go manually, you go into the Z table here. Let's say here, these are the tables from where they'll have to get the data and then plug that in. Here, these little apps give you that automatically. Once you select the parameters, it does that one here. You don't have to go to these tables. If you go into the calculations part, here, it does the calculations automatically for you. I mean, I think you can play around here, so the probabilities here, you can change these ones here, and then you can work. Or you can do the calculations directly, and then here you say, okay, what type of test you want to do, whether you want to test the mean or the difference of means of any of these that you can do. And you can select whatever you have. You can put in the values here, and then you automatically get the results. So the whole hypothesis testing work, it's done here just within these apps. Then lastly, I mean, I think the conclusion, I mean, it's up to the students. They'll have to write themselves. But if they even click on that one, it just simply gives you a page which tells you, no, there's nothing we can do it. You'll have to write your own. So this ends there. So these are different type of apps that I've built in within the book that I've gone. Now, what else? Okay, now if I go back to my video lesson here, let me go. Okay, so within this, there are also videos. Now, what I have is I have two types of videos. One is to give you conceptual ideas as to how to understand, and the other one is problem solving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play both videos. Now, what I've done is each video would take, if I were to teach that in the class, it would take 1.5 hours. But now what I've done is I've reduced that one to just within 10 minutes you can do it. And all the calculations that I've done, they can do it very quickly. And then if they want, they can pause it and they can understand and they can move further. Let me talk about, I'll show you first, and then we can move further on that one. So let's say if I go into the second video lesson here. Oops. What happened to my video lesson? Let me see, it might be hiding somewhere. Okay, oops. Here, no. Give me a second. It just somewhere is hiding, that's all. If not, then let me do it one more time. Okay. Okay, if I take you here, let me take you to my, okay, here is one video that I'll show you. This is about 4 minutes. I'm going to play this for about 2 minutes because I want to talk about that one also, and I'll show it to you. I'll play that. In real world, the shape of the population distribution is usually unknown. In order to calculate real-world problems, we make use of the sampling distribution, which is derived from the specific population of interest. The sampling distribution is always approximately a normal probability distribution. Let's say a population exists with parameters having mean mu and standard deviation sigma. A sample of size n is drawn from this population having mean equal to x bar. If all possible samples of the same size n is drawn independently and their means are calculated, we get a data set of sample means, x bars. If these x bars are used to develop a distribution, we get a sampling distribution with mean equals mu x and standard deviation sigma x. According to central limit theorem, the mean of the sampling distribution mu x will be equal to the population mean mu, and the sampling distribution standard deviation sigma x will be equal to population standard deviation sigma divided by square root of n. As an illustration, let's say we have a hypothetical population of 3 numbers, 6, 7, and 8. Its mean will be equal to 7, and the variance equal to 2/3. If you take all possible samples of size 2 and calculate their means, we get 9 mean values. Developing its sampling distribution, we find the mean of the sampling distribution equal to 7 and the variance equal to 1/3. This is precisely the result we expect according to the central limit theorem. That is, mean of the sampling distribution mu x is equal to the population mean mu, and the sampling distribution variance sigma squared x is equal to the population variance sigma squared divided by the sample size, or standard deviation sigma x equal to sigma divided by square root of n. To conclude, a sampling distribution is simply a distribution of mean values of samples of the same size drawn from the same population. Its importance comes from the fact that regardless of the shape of the population distribution, the shape of the sampling distribution will always be approximately a normal bell curve. Okay, let me stop that in here. So what I have used animation here to develop the concepts so that people can understand that. I mean, when I try to do that in the class, just to show this one here, it takes me about 1.5 hours. But here, within 4 or 5 minutes, I'll be able to show it. And all the calculations that I have to do it here, I've just shown that as 1 second. And then at that level, students can stop and then can understand it and they can go further. I don't have to waste the time. On the other hand, the other type of video that I'm going to share with you, let me get to that one here, slightly different. Okay, let me go on to this one here. Maybe I'll be able to show that video. Maybe if you go into the next page. Solid examples. Okay, so here there are several videos I have done. So let me go into this video here. And let me play that.
All right, take a couple of minutes and read this question here. And if you need to pause the video, pause it, and then we'll get to the question. Okay, now in this question here, what they want to know is from the sales department at Moodle, they're interested in whether there's a difference in the proportion of younger and older women who would purchase Heavenly if it were marketed. So that's what they want to test. Now, again, in order to do this one here, we have our 5 steps for hypothesis testing, and then let's go one at a time. So the first one is our test statistic. So for the test statistic, the formula that we need to go through the questions here in our chart. So the first question you want to ask is the data qualitative or quantitative? Now, in this data here, or in this problem, they have collected the data from 2 groups. And in each group, they're asking a question. Do you like the fragrance or you don't like the fragrance? So therefore, we have yes and no, good or bad, that type of binomial process here. So therefore, the data is qualitative. If the data is qualitative, we get a formula right away. So the formula is Z equals P1 bar minus P2 bar minus.
Okay, let me stop in here. So I just go on, and then almost if you come to the end, I go through this whole problem in here. Oops. And I show you to them step by step how to go, and then I have to do that one here,
go wrong,
and then that I end
the steps with you. Okay.
Now, the difference between the first one and the second one here is, in the second one, I take time and then show them the steps, and then I write it myself. And then sometimes I try to run faster, but I still try to keep it. See, the whole problem, it took only about 10 minutes in here. But when I did that, when in-person class, it would take about 15, 20 minutes minimum, twice the time. And also, I was not helping all the students. There were people online in hybrid classes I'm talking about. There were students there in front at 6 meters, not 6 meters, 2 meters distance. And there were students online who had hooked up, and then they're watching me at the same time. So I had to change from software to software, from microphone to microphone, and I wasn't servicing any one of them. So there were a lot of complaints about that. But now when I put that one online, everything in here, after editing it, I had absolutely no problem. Another thing that I want to bring it up here is at the beginning, you'll see the intro that I had with the music that's coming in. And also at the end, there's an extra. So for the intro, how long are you going to keep it? Should we keep it? I mean, I had to debate that quite a bit. And the first one is about for 20 seconds, and the second one is about 3 or 4 minutes. People, if it is only one video, yeah, they will like it, they don't mind it. But when you have to see several different videos, here, for example, there are 7 videos, or there are 7 different problems I've solved, and every time if you have to listen to that one here, people get really annoyed. So you want to keep that one as small as possible. And so that's why I reduced it in here, so I don't have any complaints, or nobody complains about that one, but at least they don't just simply jump to the next one. What I do is in each problem, I give the question itself, I edit it, and then I put that in so that each video is independent on its own. So these are the different type of features that I put in my video. So if I go back to my class here, go back in here, so they'll be able to see the video lessons if they want to. And then here, if they want to go to the Wiley's textbook, they can go to that one. So all the features are available in here. So far, my class is going very well compared to what I had last semester. Okay. So this is all about for my class, and I'll be happy to take any questions you may have.